There is a full moon in Chiron today. And if you're a caregiver, a healer, a therapist, a nurse, a parent who's been through hell, a psychiatric worker like myself who knows the madness from the inside, and if you ever wondered why you have been called to do this work while carrying your own scars, this message is for you. I am Anneke and this is day one of my personal 28-day, let's say, surrender journey. Let me share something from the surrendering practices that I did or that I had in my life. I will share something about wounds and the medicine and why some of us heal others through their own scars. First, let me tell you about Chiron. I looked it up myself. I've been learning today. It's Greek mythology, and Chiron was a centaur, means he was a mythological figure, half man, half horse, and his father, the Titan Cronus, raped the ocean nymph Philyra while in the form of a horse. And when Chiron was born, his mother looked at him, his strange hybrid creature, and she was disgusted and she actually abandoned him. What happened is that his both parents rejected him, and the wound of abandonment, of being too much or too ugly, too weird, of not belonging, it was carved into him from his birth. But here's where it gets really interesting. Chiron, he was later adopted by Apollo and he became the greatest healer in all of mythology. He mastered medicine, prophecy, astrology, herbalism, every healing art imaginable. But it wasn't his talent, it was overcompensation. He was searching in the healing arts for what could heal or what would heal himself. And then comes the tragic irony. In a battle, Chiron was struck by a poisoned arrow, a wound so deep, so deadly that even with all his mastery, he could not heal himself. He lived with an unhealable wound, immortal, yet he was suffering. Zeus eventually placed him into the stars as the constellation Centaurus, the wounded healer, forever holding both the wounds and the medicine. If you are drawn to the healing work, if you are a doctor who battles your own mental health crises, or a therapist carrying your own trauma, perhaps you're a nurse who knows what it's like on the other side of the hospital doors, or maybe you're a parent trying to break cycles. You are Chiron. You didn't choose this work from a career fair, did you? You were initiated into it. And maybe you were initiated through the rejection that taught you how to see the rejected ones. That's a little bit me. Depression that showed you the intelligent in the darkness. Perhaps psychosis that revealed realities others can't perceive. Addiction that taught you that craving for wholeness. Maybe complex trauma that made you fluent in survival. Or, again like myself, religious wounds, unprotected, excommunicated by the community. I know what it feels like to not fit in. The wound came first. The calling came through that wound. And here's what no one tells you: you cannot heal it away. Chiron's wound never healed, and that's the whole point. The work is not about fixing yourself so that you are qualified to help others. The work actually is to alchemize the wound into medicine while it's still tender. Your depression becomes your depth, your anxiety becomes your attunement, and your psychosis becomes your perception. Your trauma becomes your transmission. Not because you're transcended it, but because you are living with it in a new way. For me, I didn't become a holistic psychiatric nurse slash trauma therapist because I love to study and I thought, well, this looks interesting. Why not? Why not try it out? I became one because I've been on the other side, because I know what it's like to be unseen when your community looks at you like you're broken, when reality itself crashes and you think you're going mad. I've been part of a religious institution that numbed my soul while I experienced death, like real death. And nobody could give me answers I was looking for as a teenager. I was 16 years old and I had to survive alone, finding deep answers to important questions that I had about living and dying. I've experienced states of consciousness that opened doors into the unknown for me. And for years I thought that these wounds needed to be healed before I could help anyone else on a deeper level. And partly it's true, I do needed time to digest and see the messages in there. And in these first adult years, I made decisions that kept me stuck in the same trauma cycles, especially in relationships, but also in work, and especially building my own practice, my own business. Chiron is teaching us here. The wound is the qualification. The wound is the qualification. The thing that I was most ashamed of, me getting stuck in the same patterns, that became the very thing that allows me to sit with others in their crisis and say, I've been there. And there is intelligence in this madness. Now, when I work with somebody in crisis, complex trauma, psychosis, I don't see symptoms to suppress. I see prana, life force, moving in a way, a kind of intelligence within, moving in a way that their nervous system hasn't learned to integrate yet. So when I see complex trauma, I don't see damage, I see samskaras. These are yogic terms. These are actually deep grooves, like in an LP, that can be rewired through embodied practice. So it's not about removing the grooves, it's about filling the grooves up in the right way so that these grooves actually become a harmony. Or like in an LP, it becomes a song, right? Working with these grooves, it's embodied work, not just talk therapy. When someone sits across me in their darkest nights, I don't offer them false hope, but I do offer them companionship in the underworld because I've been there and I know the gifts that come from descending into the darkest depths. And the wound didn't heal, it transforms. And I know that this is available to you too. So if you are watching this, whether you're a therapist, a psychiatrist, a nurse, body worker, teacher, parent, energy healer, a friend who is always the one who people call in a crisis, yeah, I know you're there, then ask yourself, what is my Chiron wound? And most of us, we know what it is. We may not speak about it publicly, but we know what it is. Or at least our core self, our deepest essence, know what it is. It might be abandonment that taught you to create belonging for others. It might be unworthiness that taught you to see worth in everybody else. Maybe it was ancestral trauma that you're here to finally metabolize. The wound or the wounds may be so deep, so old, so early. You can't always see it in everyday consciousness. You've compensated so long that it's now, or it seems to be, part of you. You may identify with it, or the world around you identifies you here. I will speak more about that in another video, definitely. Let's do some shadow work here. Here's how you know where it is. Look at what you are drawn to in supporting others who are healing. Isn't that your wound speaking? Or what client triggers you the most? That's your wound. The situations that you cannot fix, that's your wound. The place you feel most inadequate as a professional or healer, that is, again, your wound. In yogic terms, this is karma yoga, service as a spiritual practice. Your wound becomes your dharma, your sacred duty. In-depth psychology, this is Jung's concept of the wounded healer, that we can only take someone as deep as we've gone ourselves. In trauma work, we know that post-traumatic growth isn't about returning to the baseline. It's about becoming something more because of what you survived. And in the path of surrender, this is tapas, the purifying fire from within that burns away the false self so that your true medicine can emerge. Chiron wouldn't heal his wounds, but he used it to heal thousands. So your wound doesn't disqualify you, it actually establishes you. So here's a little practice under this Chiron moon. I have a couple of prompts or journal questions for you. What is my deepest wound? The one I carry into my caregiving work. That's one. How have I been trying to heal others the way I wish I would have been healed? Good one. What if I stop trying to fix the wound and start to work with it? And the last one. Who am I meant to serve because of what I've survived? And you don't have to share this. You don't have to have it all figured out today. But just this beautiful acknowledgement. My wound is not my weakness. It is actually my credential. Tomorrow I'm going to share why the version of you that's trying to heal is actually blocking your healing, and the ego dad's grip that keeps it stuck in the Chiron cycle. We're going deep in the surrender practice and what has to die for your medicine to truly be born. So, this was day 1 of my personal surrender challenge, which was meant to be a 2 or 3 minute video. Didn't work out. To all the wounded healers who are watching this, I want to say thank you for your wounds. Thank you for carrying the pain so bravely. Thank you for your service and thank you for staying. The world needs your medicine exactly as it comes through your scar. See you tomorrow.